what I would love to do is I've always kind of had the idea for me that if I was able to like, do a sitcom or just, start working with that agent in LA and get those opportunities, that I would start to feel I've reached the success that I want. And I just want to be able to like, I do want to learn investing. I think it's really important because savings account at a credit union that I have does nothing. But I feel like if you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get in this business or any business, right? You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, your guys' podcast a couple weeks ago was talking about how, especially in real estate, you guys deal with a lot of issues with like the market and, sales might be crashing at some point. Like we don't know the scary stuff that happens. You want to understand a way to put your money and invest in it that you don't need to rely on another source for that income. And that's ultimately what I'd love to do. I'd love to like get to a point where I'm earning enough that it's like, okay, now let me invest in something with somebody trustworthy that I can have money coming in. And somebody had told me a quote by some famous guy with financing that the goal in life should be to earn money when you're sleeping. I don't know how genuine that is or sincere, but I get the logic behind it is pretty solid. Like do something to where your skills that you have, your talents can earn for you when you don't have to constantly be putting in the work for it, right? So I think that I would really love to kind of go that route where 6 months from now, I'm booking something that's going to provide for me so that I can put it toward providing for myself down the road from that. There was this really great, I don't know if there's any Christian listeners out there, but there's this passage about, in the Bible, there's like the promised 7 years of prosperity and everything's good. But that doesn't mean you don't plan for the 7 years when it's not going to be prosperous, right? When you have the things that make life comfortable, you need to make sure that you have that for when life's not comfortable. And that was just really sound advice for me, I think. So I think that's really crucial. If that answers your question in an extremely long-winded way.
Well, I feel like I'm extremely long-winded, so it made sense to me. But no, I feel like that's super positive and very real because I think that's all of our goals in a kind of tumultuous world and things and tariffs and everything costs rising. I think a lot of people are looking for even secondary ways to make income. And that's something that we've been talking about is people aren't just going necessarily to even one day job. They're picking up all different types of jobs. So it would be a beautiful thing to feel like there was one primary source that's yielding for you for a long time, which I can totally relate to.
Yeah.
So as far as more long term, I know that's already pretty big. Do you have anything else you want to add, Ben?
No, I was just my mind's just going on a little bit.
That's okay, mine too. So
I was just talking about like making money, and then I was thinking about like, oh yeah, everyone's on TikTok now and making videos.
That's a very good reasonable to answer your question. I feel like it's important that we need to give ourselves goals that we can achieve every day to get to that like month goal. And that's something that I should totally do is be more consistent in posting like on TikTok, on Instagram. Like there's a lot of times when I'm on set with people and they're posting like crazy and they want us to. The
productions. Sorry, that's random.
I can do Christopher Walken. Hey, you mother selves. Yeah, like I should start doing like
anything.
Yeah, I have this idea. Yes, I have this idea where I just started getting into Gordon Ramsay cooking, and I come from a family of chefs, and I don't cook. Like I've burned macaroni before. Like I'm a bad cook, and I started watching Gordon Ramsay, and he's like, "All right, come on, eggs. Everybody loves them." So all of us cooking eggs. I'm like, I'm gonna go buy eggs. It's like $20 for like 24 eggs now. I'm like, $1 an egg? Like I should just raise chickens. That's what we should invest in. We should all be investing in raising chickens. That is the future.
At this point, $9 a dozen.
No,
That gives me 4.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't eat eggs anymore because back in the day, I did keto and I used to eat like 50 eggs a day, and all of a sudden now my body is like rejecting it, and so I get like this lung inflammation when I eat eggs now, so it sucks. I can't eat eggs. I'm kind of irritated about that. But anyway, no, I was thinking about when I was a kid, I was probably like 8 years old or something like that. And I would like take my parents' camcorder, like the big giant camcorder that you put on your shoulder, VHS tape. And I'd be going around and I'd just be like documenting everything and I'd be narrating. And I'm just like, if there was internet back then, there wasn't internet back then. Like I would be totally throwing that up on YouTube and like just generate content. But somewhere down the line from when you're a kid to when you become like grown man or grown adult, you start to get these insecurities and you start to get these like, oh, I don't know if I should post that. And like, what are they going to think? And, oh, I don't know. I didn't say, like all of these things start going in your head. And it's just like, why? Like, just post it. I keep hearing those words from Gary Vee. Just post content. Just post it.
I like that because I've never heard those words before. And so I'm definitely going to be taking that gift you've given me as I leave later and using that. But that's very true. And that's something I know. So I started coaching youth in like improv and acting. And it's been pretty prosperous. And the one thing that I'm realizing from feedback is a lot of the kids, even if you don't ever want to do acting or anything, everyone should be taking improv class at some point in your life because it's really going to help your sense of security in yourself in unfamiliar situations. And watching the kid, like for me, martial arts was a thing for me as a kid. There wasn't improv in the Midwest where I grew up. But if I had it as a kid, maybe I would have jumped on things a little bit sooner, right? So I just love that it's giving these kids a tool to be confident in themselves and say, teaching them to don't listen to like the doubt and just try something, because at the end of the day, the business of acting, like I think it was Viola Spolin said it in a book that I'm going to get such flack if this is wrong, especially because I went to Second City, but I'm pretty sure Viola Spolin was the woman that helped found Second City, and she based it on walking down the sidewalk. She was watching kids play hand puppets on the sidewalk or something along those lines, and she's like, this is what acting should be. Us as kids, not worried about an audience, what people are thinking, and just total freedom. And I have loved that ever since. And so I try to instill that in like the teaching methods that I use. And it's such a joy watching these kids overcome like insecurities.
It makes me want just beg the question. So like I have lots of accounts. I talk about it all the time, but like I have 12 Instagram accounts. I have 4 TikTok accounts. I have a lot.
Godmother.
For varying interests. So I would recommend you doing a page like where that is the point. Like you are teaching improv for kids attached to your normal social acting page, because then you can start building a following. And yes, it's niche, right?
Right.
But this is a common area where people have dreams of their kid. California's not very far away. Have dreams of sending their kid 4 or 5 hours down the road to pursue that dream, but live here. And there's a lot of affluence here. Same reason why my big risk is my children's father got his dream job here. So we are very much so hot mess express, off again, on again, and like a sitcom. Like we're so honest about it and keep it real in that way.
It's good. Yeah.
But I'm very much so about my kids and like child led. And that's the whole point of me being here. But I had a great book of business, know a lot of people back home in Texas, and chose to come here so that we could parent 50-50. So like sometimes, like what you're saying, you said it earlier, like sometimes the bold move isn't at all tied to money. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's having faith on yourself for a completely different reason. Faith that you were going to make it out of living in your car.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't ever discount yourself, because that is a bold move. That is huge. And sometimes not the most orthodox thing or the thing that makes sense to most people is the right thing for you.
Yeah. It's so important for, I think, us to remember that like small moves or small means is how you bring to pass like the big important things in life. And like for me, it's the little like, I don't know if I should post today, or I'm not feeling being procrastinatory or being judgmental about taking the small step. And a lot of it too is I can tend to be a lazy person when I'm feeling unmotivated. And it's like, if I have a big job or big gig coming up, I'll wait till the night before and go crash course. And then my mind's like, I feel so in like fueled, like I have all these ideas. And if I would take like little steps there, imagine where I would be when I get to that point when I'm already at that level, but I have all of this stuff that I brought with me. So I really love what you just said. That's super important.
I was listening and they were saying something like, when you talk to these people that are creators and they post for like, 3 or 4 years, nothing, 3 or 4 years, 5 years. And then all of a sudden, like, 7th year down the line or something, all of a sudden, boom, it like pops and like all of their stuff just becomes viral. And now they're like on this like big forward momentum. And it's like they're telling you just post every day and just do it. It's like an investment. Like, when you're talking about the stock market and like, like investing, you know what I mean? You're putting stuff away that eventually could turn out to be something, and that's like, that kind of resonated with me. And I'm having like this internal struggle. So like, just to kind of fill you in on like what's going on with my family, like my daughter is like me, like she likes to act, she likes to do stuff, and she wants to be on YouTube. She wants to like post stuff. And then I think I did a TikTok on this earlier, but I'm like debating, like not letting her have like a YouTube channel. I created one under my name. And
Smart, yeah.
but I'm debating on whether or not to have her videos go like public, because I tested it and she did this one short and she was talking about her day at school, and like the next day I got like 500 views and I'm like, it's kind of weird. And so I'm like, are these like creepy like people or like legit things, So I'm like, and I'm like, okay, let's make them private for right now, but I don't want to like stifle her creativity and say, no, don't do this, but because
A couple ideas.
okay.
So the only reason why I wouldn't put it in her name, but I also wouldn't put it in yours, what we do is we'll sign up as though it's us, like with the same age and everything. If you sign up as though it's her actual age, she will only get to interact with other minor accounts. She won't be shown on her timeline and her preferences. She won't be shown any type of adult creators. She would have to go searching for that. And even then, they make it very hard to be seen.
Okay. But
so the only benefit of having like a minor account and putting in the birthday of the correct age, it doesn't have to be her name. It could be Sarah Smith. You know what I mean? You could put whatever bum name that isn't her, or just a vague name, like
just
baseball player 23, whatever. Yeah. Something like that. So that way, but you would put her actual info like on the back end of it, so that she's not shown to other people. She's only shown to minor accounts.
Okay.
So it's not going to be stifling her creativity, but it's going to make it very hard for her to be shown to creeps.
But I think like she has to be like what, 13? Is that okay? So
12 or 13, depending on the app rules.
Okay. So she has the mind of a 13-year-old, but she's 8. So she's so I guess I gotta
figure that out. Weigh your options, figure out what's right for you. So the other thing that I was going to say is a lot of those family accounts, they do faceless accounts. They literally blur out the kid's face. So it could be what they're doing, but then when you were to see them